Hello, it is I once more, Jordan, aka Defcos, One Piece fanboy extraordinaire, here today to do another reread review. Today we are doing One Piece Volume 18. so, yeah, um, let's get right into it. This is the first, well, not the first appearance of Ace, but it's the first time Ace meets Luffy. So I'll go ahead and read the foreword. I feel like there's something on the book that's like wet. Anyway, all right. They say that sleep requires physical strength. With good quality sleep, even if it's short, you can wake up refreshed. In other words, you should sleep with all your might. So I decided to get fit so that I could get some good quality sleep in a short period of time. I gulped down a potent vitamin drink, then crawled under the covers. Oh man, geez, like I can fall asleep now. Yitra Oda 2001. All right. Yeah, I need to get fit. Like for real. I keep putting on weight. It's not cool. Need to like go on a diet or something, work out. I'm too lazy to work out though. That's my problem. And I smoke, which is terrible. Um, anyway, let's get into the volume. Okay, so we pick up where we left off. The Straw Hats are on their way to Alabasta. They're up to their usual shenanigans on the Mary. They run into a hot spot. Steam coming from the ocean. And then they run into Mr. Two Clay, which I actually just realized because I always knew his name was Mr. Two Clay, but I didn't realize that like why they call him that because usually in Baroque works it's like you got Mr. One, Mr. Three, Mr. Four, Mr. Five, then you got their partners, which are women who you got Miss All Sunday, Miss Doublefinger, Miss Golden Week. Um, but Mr. Two, he's actually both the woman and the man put together. So they call him Mr. Two Clay because the Clay part actually represents the holiday of some kind. I forget what they said it was. They say it in an SBS in this volume. Uh, but the Mr. Two is the man part and the Clay is the woman part. So he's both agents in one, actually. And I actually didn't realize. I mean, I forgot. I guess I knew because I read it before, but I completely forgotten that that's why he was called Mr. Clay. I really didn't give it much thought. I was just like, oh, his name is Mr. Clay, and that's it. But there's actually a reason for that. Okay, so Mr. Clay arrives on the Straw Hat ship. He gets caught because Usopp and um, Luffy are fishing with Karu as the bait, and he gets caught. He like holds on to Karu and gets caught. Um, so actually, I put a post-it note here, and I completely forget why I did that. Maybe it was to talk about what I just talked about because this is the introduction of. Oh, here it is. It's because so in the Viz translation, uh, so Mr. Two Clay is what is commonly referred to as an okama in Japanese culture. Google it if you don't know. But and on his back it says Okama Way. That's like what's written on his back in kanji. But in the Viz translation, they don't call it Okama. They call it O Come My Way. And I'm not 100% sure on the reasoning behind that. I guess they're like censoring it somewhat. Um, because there's definitely a difference between Okama Way and O Come My Way. Or maybe it is that is what it's called, and I just don't know. Maybe that is, what it is in Japanese too. I don't think so though. So I just put a post-it note there to talk about that briefly. Um, but yeah, Mr. Tuban Clay shows up. Then we get a display of his power, which is if he hits you with his right hand, he copies your likeness, like your face, and I guess your body too, like your entire likeness. And then when he touches himself with his left hand, he goes back to normal. So here we get Mr. Tuban Clay uh, put it on Luffy's face, and then he goes back to normal. Then he does all the other Straw Hats, well, not all of them, but some of the other Straw Hats. Oh yeah, and then he does the gag where he says, "Oh yeah, I can look like anyone," and he says, "And that includes my body." And then he's like as Nami while he does that, and then he like unbuttons his shirt to like reveal Nami's tits, pretty much, and then Nami punches him. But I remember when I read that the first time, I was like, "Oh wow, that's interesting," because One Piece is obviously inspired by Dragon Ball, and I actually have a Dragon Ball shirt on today. But I remember when I was a kid and I was reading Dragon Ball, like not so much Dragon Ball Z. I mean, the whole manga is called Dragon Ball, but I guess you can call the second part Dragon Ball Z just to like clarify. Um, but in Dragon Ball, especially at the beginning, like Akira Toyama would draw like boobs. He would draw Bulma's tits on occasion, and that's something that Ichiro Oda doesn't do, as far as like drawing like boobs. Or maybe it's just like the times have changed. Like maybe that's not so much socially acceptable for a shonen manga to like include like boobs, like nudity like that in it. But I remember when I read this the first time, I was like, oh wow, that's kind of close. That's almost like drawing boobs. Like he drew Nami revealing her boobs to Luffy, Usopp, and Chopper, but from the back, from behind, so you can't see them. Uh, so yeah, so I thought that was something that I remember when I read this the first time. I was like, oh wow, that's kind of interesting. That's kind of close to what Akira Toriyama used to do. Not exactly though, but it's funny that he did do that. And then okay, so we move on. Bon Clay showing his powers. He shows that he copied Cobra's face. Um, I don't remember when he did that. If they reveal it at some point when he got close enough to Cobra to like touch him with his right hand. But I guess he did. So yeah, so Bon Clay shows off, and then his ship comes to get him. So, oh yeah, I thought this was a funny gag. Vivi is like, "Oh wow, that was Mr. Two Bon Clay," and then she's like, "Oh, I'd only heard rumors about him." Then she's like, "Oh, they say he wears makeup and talks like a girl and wears a swan coat that says 'Oh, come my way' on my back. I mean, on the back." And then uh, they're like, "Wait, how did you not recognize him?" All right, so moving on. Oh yeah, so they meet the sea cat. And I thought this was kind of interesting. The sea cat shows up. Uh, it's like a sea king that looks like a cat. I'm hungry. I need to get some food. But this was interesting because they go to catch the sea cat to like eat it, and then Vivi stops them because sea cats are uh, are sacred in Alabasta, and I thought that was interesting because Alabasta, Oda mentioned in a SBS, Alabasta is actually based on Egypt somewhat. It's kind of like Egypt, the equivalent of Egypt in the One Piece world. And in ancient Egypt, in the real world, cats were sacred. Cats were like worshipped and whatnot. Um, so I thought that was kind of interesting that he kind of took that same theme or whatever, same idea. Um, yeah, so then they're being followed by Baroque works. They see all the Baroque work ships, and then they do the thing where they wrap a bandage around their arms so that they can differentiate themselves from Mister Two. Um, and I remember they had the X's on their wrists. They all put like an X on their wrist just in case like they get separated and then they run into one of another member of the Straw Hats and they're like, oh, are you really you or are you Bon Clay? And they don't show the X's here, but they show the bandages, and I'm wondering, is the X under the bandage? Like, is the X under the bandage there, or have they not put the X's on yet? Because I feel like if they had put the X's on yet, we would see them, but maybe not. Maybe it's just the bandage for now. I don't remember how that goes down. Um, but anyway, they arrive at Alabasta. We see Smoker and Tashigi. Smoker has his goggles on, and then we run into Ace. Ace is such an awesome character. It's too bad that he died. It's kind of like Game of Thrones, style, where like he introduces a character that is super awesome and then they kill him off. Um, Although that doesn't happen anywhere near as much in One Piece. That never happens in One Piece, except for Ace and Whitebeard. Um, yeah, so Ace is asleep in his food. Oh yeah, I remember that freaking me out the first time I saw it. I mean, I guess I had read manga with where that had showed up before, but I didn't really understand. But how he has a manji, I think it's called, on his back. The Whitebeard symbol is like a manji, which looks kind of like a swastika, but it's not a swastika because swastikas are like tilted, and the manji is like in a square. So it's like just like straightforward like that. Um, so I guess that's the difference. Um, but I remember when I saw that when I was a kid, I was like, wait, what's going on right now? Why is there a swastika in One Piece? Um, but it's not a swastika, it's a manji, which is a symbol of like, I think it's like, means like life, like eternal life or something like that. It's a good symbol. It's a positive symbol. The Nazis just fucked that up for everybody. In case you didn't know, you probably do. So here we get a good shot of Ace with his gun that he never uses. Or is that a knife? I guess that's a knife. Wait, does he hit what? Oh yeah, that's a knife. Yeah. Um, so he has a knife on his hip right there. And I remember at this point they kind of make it seem like Ace is Luffy's biological brother, which he's not, and you find that out later in the story. But when they first introduce him, they kind of make it seem like he is his biological brother. Yeah, here, Ace with the Oda box. I'm just looking for my kid brother, right here. And he kind of looks like Luffy too. Like it would make sense if he was his brother because they kind of look like they could be brothers. Um, Maybe I mean, they're both D's they're both like members of the D clan. So I mean, I don't think all the D's are like blood related, but maybe some of them are, and maybe Luffy does have like share, blood with Ace and with Goldie Roger. Um, it's possible. I wouldn't be surprised. They do kind of look alike. Even when Gold Roger was younger, he looked just like Luffy. He looked exactly like Luffy. So it would make sense if they're actually related, like of the same family. Um, okay, so Luffy runs off because he's super hungry, so he's looking for food. And then Smoker runs into Ace. Oh yeah, this part kind of confused me a little bit. Uh, so I talked about this before, but apparently Smoker can control the density of his smoke. Like sometimes he can make it somewhat solid, and other times he can make it completely like I don't know how to say that. He can make it completely like you can. It doesn't. It's not solid. Like you can just go through it like smoke. Um, but in this case right here, he's like activating his power at the top page at the top panel right here, and then Luffy does Gum Gum Rocket, and then it hits him in the back. And it's like, oh, well, he didn't go through him, but he is a Logia, so I guess if you're not prepared and you're a Logia, you can still get hit by an attack or something like that. I guess you have to be like consciously like turning yourself into smoke before you get struck, in order for it to not actually hit you. I guess. I know that in order to hit Crocodile, Luffy has to cover himself in water or blood, in order to actually be able to like hit him. Uh, but yeah, in this case, he just straight up hit Smoker. Like he just straight up hit him in the back. Um, so yeah, so Ace sees Luffy and is like, "Oh hey Luffy," but then Smoker stops him from like seeing him, and Luffy's eating. Then he runs off because he knows that he can't really attack Smoker because of his smoke powers, so he just runs away. And then, uh, okay, so Smoker and Tashigi run after Luffy. Yeah, here we get a shot of Nami and Vivi in their new Alabasta outfits. I always like those outfits. That's pretty cool. I love how Alabasta is like a Egyptian Middle Eastern kind of vibe type place. It's pretty awesome. Okay, so the Marines are chasing Luffy. And here we get another classic panel. Ace, uh, he did an attack to stop Smoker right here. That's a classic Ace image right there. It's a very memorable panel of Ace. I think they use that in like promotional material too. That might also be why it's kind of memorable. Um, okay, so the Straw Hats get ready to leave. They were at Nanohana, if I'm not mistaken. That was the name of the town they were in, and they want to go to Yuba. So they send Karu to go inform King Cobra, of all of the goings on of like to update him on what's happening. Uh, isn't wasn't Luffy's attack versus Katakuri the attack that took him out? Wasn't that called King Cobra? Gomu Gomu no King Cobra? Was that what it was called? I think it was. Um, All right, so here we get Ace, who shows up on the Mary and runs into to Luffy and the Straw Hats and explains to them about Whitebeard and his whole situation. He even asks Luffy to join Whitebeard. It's like, oh yeah, why don't you all just join the Whitebeard pirates? And here's when he gives him the Vivre card. They don't really explain what it is, but he gives it to them, or to Luffy. He gives it to him, and he's like, "Here, just hold on to this, and just don't lose it. Like, just hang on to it." He says, "It's a piece of paper that will bring us together again." That's what he says. He doesn't really explain for anything further than that. I feel like we haven't seen a Vivre card in this story for a while. And then Ace takes off. It's a short encounter. I think in the anime he sticks with them for like a little bit longer. He stays with them for like a few episodes, I think. But here he just shows up, says, "Hey, what's up?" Gives him the Vivre card, tells him about Whitebeard and Blackbeard, and then leaves. And he says, "Next time we meet will be on the high seas." And I guess next time they meet is at Marineford, if I'm not mistaken. I guess that's the next time that Luffy sees Ace. I love Luffy's like boat, his like jet powered boat that he uses. It's pretty awesome. And here he does the big attack where all the Baroque Works ships are like coming after him, and he just does he can Fire Fist. Just owns all the boats. It's too bad Ace died, man. I think Ace is kind of cooler than Sabo, to be honest. I mean, Sabo's all right. He's all right, but I feel like Ace is kind of like a cooler character. I think I like Ace more than Sabo. Actually, I definitely like Ace more than Sabo. Oh yeah, so here they get ready to go to Yuba. I think it's called, yeah, Yuba, to go to the rebel base camp. Because from what I understand, they need to talk to Koza, the leader of the rebels, and be like, "Oh yeah, like chill, like we don't want to start a war or whatever." They're trying to like reason with them and parlay with them because apparently, I guess the rebels like don't trust the Alabasta kingdom. I imagine. Uh, I think they explain it a little bit more later in this volume. Uh, okay, so here we get the Baroque Works members, the high-ranking members of Baroque Works that are all gathering together. Um, oh yeah, I put a post note here just because this is kind of funny actually. When I was rereading this earlier today, and I saw this character, Pola, right here, Pola. I was just like, who the fuck is Pola? Like, I completely forgot. I was just like, I have no recollection of this character. Like, what is she doing here? Why does she have an Oda box? I have no recollection of this character. Like, who is she? And then later on, like shortly after that, it's actually revealed that it's Miss Doublefinger. I was like, oh, okay. Okay, I remembered Miss Doublefinger. I just didn't remember Pola. I was like, what the fuck is going on? Um, so yeah, so oh yeah, here's a pretty cool shot of Mr. One. This is the first time we see Mr. One. And that's a pretty cool drawing right there. He's a cool looking character. Um, so yeah, and then he fights with Mr. Tubon Clay briefly. Yeah, here we get the reveal that Pola is Miss Doublefinger. Okay, so the Straw Hats get to Yuba. Oh yeah, and they run into the Kung Fu Jugons, which is pretty funny. Usopp gets his ass kicked by one, and then Luffy beats one, and they want to be his apprentice. Okay, and then we get the flashback. We get a flashback here with the dance powder, which apparently makes it rain. And I think this is part of what why the rebels don't like the king, because they think he was controlling the rain. So it was because of him that there was a drought and stuff like that. But it was actually Crocodile. It wasn't King Cobra. But they think it was King Cobra. And apparently, I think the dance powder like gets absorbed by the clouds and then makes it rain or something like that. I was a little confused by how that worked. Um, yeah, yeah. So it was all because of Crocodile. The he framed the king pretty much. Now this is a cool panel right here. Let's get moving. I'm itching for action. That's a pretty cool shot of Luffy. Oh, yeah, so they're in the heat. They're like trekking through the desert. Put a post-it note here. Oh yeah, I put a post-it note here just because uh, this is kind of funny. Luffy says like they're like, oh, we should eat now, and they're like, no, we should eat later because we have to conserve the food. And then Luffy's like, haven't you ever heard the old saying, when you get hungry, you should eat? And then Usopp says, you made that up, liar. And I was just like, oh wow, Usopp just called somebody a liar. Wow. The word lie is literally in your name, and you're calling somebody else a liar. Thought that was funny. Oh yeah, then we run into the pheasants that like trick them into taking they take their like supplies and stuff like that. They like pretend to be dying, and then they like take their supplies when they're not looking. Oh yeah, and then they get chased by a giant fucking like it's called a Sandora dragon, but then they hit it with a team up technique. I'm just talking about how much I love team up techniques in One Piece, and here Zoro, Sanji, and Luffy do like a triple attack. That's kind of overkill. I don't think they need to hit it with all that. I think if one of them had hit it, it would have been enough. But they just owned that fucking thing. It's pretty dope though. Oh yeah, and then they get the camel. Eyelashes the camel shows up. Um, okay, so yeah, they get to Yuba, and they run into Toto. I remembered Toto. I remembered him. Put a post-it note here. Oh yeah, I just I just put a post-it note here just because I thought this was really funny. I'm trying to put it close to the camera. Right here, Zoro hits Luffy with Usopp. He just tells him to shut up and hits him with Usopp. I thought that was hilarious. That's the only reason I put a post-it note there. Okay, so here we get the flashback to Vivi's childhood, um, with Koza and Cobra and Toto and Vivi when she was a little girl. Um, yeah, so yeah, we get the story behind Koza and Vivi and their friendship, and how Koza like there are these bandits that like try to kidnap Vivi and hold her for ransom, and Koza takes one of them on, and that's how he gets his scar. He gets like slashed right here in the face, but then he hits him with like he has like a club, like a wooden club, and he just smacks the guy with it right there. Um, so yeah, and that kind of cements their friendship. Uh, well, yeah. Then they talk about how they're supposed to build Yuba, to build the city that's like a crossroads for all the cities in Alabasta. Um, and that's I guess that's I don't know. Is that the last time that Vivi sees Koza? Because then he becomes the leader of the rebels. I don't know if they've seen that if she's seen him since then. Um, oh yeah, I thought this was kind of funny. Sanji is in Vivi's bed, and he's like, "Oh, I didn't think you wanted to sleep alone tonight." Like, what? What are you trying to do, Sanji? Even Usopp's like, "What are you trying to pull?" Like Sanji is always like kind of perving out on the girls or whatever. He always has like the big hearts in his eyes, and he's always trying to like hug them and kiss them and like flirt with them and stuff like that. But he never actually gets like any poontang, if you catch my drift. I mean, I feel like Sanji and Nami have like a bond that's a little stronger than Sanji and like every other girl in the story, like every other pretty girl. Um, I guess if I were to ship characters in One Piece, I would definitely ship Sanji and Nami. I feel like Nami and Sanji kind of have a bond that other characters don't have. Um, but that's kind of like it's just hinted at. It's not really on the forefront at all. Okay, so then we get the meeting of the Baroque Works members. They all meet at Crocodile's, I guess his casino, and that's when they find out that Crocodile's the head of Baroque Works. They didn't even know. And then they kind of get their plan into motion. They're like plan to take over Alabasta and to make the Utopia. And then we cut back to the Straw Hats, and Luffy is like, "I quit. Like I don't want to go after the rebellion anymore." Oh, and then we cut back to the Baroque Works, and Mister Three comes back, and Crocodile almost kills Mister Three because he reveals that he failed to like get rid of them, and then Crocodile like grabs him and like drains him of his moisture or whatever, like dries him up right here, and then he sends him like into a weird underwater aquarium with the banana gators. Okay, so then Luffy says, "Yeah, I want to kick Crocodile's butt, but there's no point in stopping the rebels because that's not going to stop Crocodile." Um, but yeah, I thought this was kind of crazy how Vivi and Usopp kind of, I mean Vivi and Usopp, Vivi and Luffy kind of have like an altercation here, and Luffy even punches Vivi. I thought that was kind of nuts. Luffy doesn't like hit girls often, but he has on occasion. And yeah, and then he says, "Yeah, we'll help you. We're your friends." And it's like, "Okay, where do we find Crocodile? Let's do this." And that is it for volume 18 of One Piece. Goddamn, I love me some One Piece so goddamn much. It's like my favorite thing in the world. So yeah, so that's it for volume 18. I will do volume 19 On Sunday, we are getting very close to the end of this box set that I have. So I'm really gonna, and I'm kind of running low on funds, to be honest. I kind of miscalculated my my money, and so I'm kind of low on money. So I might have to pause making these videos for a while until I get some money back, so that I can buy the volumes. I might have to like take a week or two off from making these videos. Not that anybody really cares. I'm just doing this for myself. Uh, so yeah, it doesn't really make a difference. But I think I'm going to have to not make a video for a while. Like after the Alabasta arc, I'll probably have to take a break for a little while until I get some more money in my pocket, which shouldn't take too long, just a couple of weeks or whatever, just so I could get a couple paychecks, and and then I'll start buying the volumes after Alabasta, so that I can keep making these videos. Um, yeah, I would love to. I would love to buy the next box set, but from what I understand, it's still out of stock, so I don't think that's going to happen. I tweeted Viz about it. They still haven't gotten back to me, unfortunately. Um, so yeah, so we'll see what happens. I'll keep making videos one way or another. Uh, but yeah, until then, though, if you watch me talk about One Piece for over half an hour, thank you very much. And yeah, I will see you in the very near future. Have a good one.